Contender Series a couple times now, and he's looking to hopefully, continue his rise as an undefeated professional. Torrez Finney, welcome to the show.
Thank y'all for having me on the show. Thank you very much. I'm excited to be here.
Absolutely. It's our pleasure to have you. Where are you joining
Welcome.
us from?
I'm currently joining y'all from Chattanooga. I'm currently here, finishing up my camp. I just got done with a hard cardio session. So yeah, we're grinding. We're grinding.
Are you from Nashville?
No, I'm from Macon, Georgia, but I went to
Okay.
college up here at UTC. To play
Gotcha.
football. So, yeah, football.
Oh, okay. Because Elle was just in Nashville recently, and then I was in Nashville
I love
recently.
Nashville. It's one of my favorite cities to visit.
Yeah, Nashville. One, it's got great food, and then the downtown. There's plenty of things to do downtown. So it's really fun. It is fun.
For real. Well, my man, 9-0 as a professional. I mean, that is a feat in and of itself. We were recently on the Contender Series for the third time, and boy, was President White tough on you, man. But you know what? He kept it real. So I'm curious to hear your thoughts on his harsh criticism of your last performance.
Again, I've told people on this multiple occasions is one, whatever Dana, I respect Dana for sure, obviously what he's done in the sport, but those words don't really mean much to me at all. I've been in sports all my life, and I've had a lot of success, and I also have had people say things. So I've been through that phase of people saying whatever they say, and obviously I disagree. I've went with a lot of guys within the UFC. Granted, it's training, but I know I belong. But regardless of wherever I belong, but I belong on one of the highest levels of mixed martial arts because I am on that level. Mm-hmm. And this October 1st is just another opportunity for me to do it. Look, opportunity and a chance to make history. First ever guy to go 3-0 in the Contender Series. That pays dearly to me. Now, granted, I know nobody technically wants that record because you want to go in there once and get the contract. But, hey, man, it's just about overcoming that adversity every time. No matter what you throw in my face, no matter what arises, I'm going to keep churning on over and over again, and nobody's going to stop me. So I always said if I keep winning, it's going to be undeniable, and that's my goal every time.
I love that energy, man. That's great.
Absolutely. Yeah. You honestly answered my question. I wanted to know kind of just your thoughts on that three-peat coming up on Contender Series and your thoughts on it, but you're going in very confidently, obviously, a perfect record. You obviously got a finish on the Contender Series the first time. And then unfortunately the decision, and the second time, this criticism from Dana. How important do you think it is for this fight to be a finish? Looking at your record, you have I think seven finishes. How important is that?
It's huge, and I always go for the finish. See, the thing is, it's like people obviously that been in the fight game understands that it's all about matchups, and certain matchups can stale certain styles. Certain matchups can help certain styles, and not every fight is going to, always end up being that way. And when you look at the beauty of the Dana White Contender Series, granted, yes, it's about going there and showing Dana, like, do I belong? But also, your chances obviously diminish a little bit. Like, yeah, people go in there have epic fights, and sometimes the winner and loser get on. But I'm just going to be frankly, like, personal. Like, I didn't grow up that way. I didn't grow up being happy with a good loss. And I'm not going to be that way. I never have and never will. Rather it's an ugly win or a great win, we won. And that's how I've always been. I'm a two-time state champion in wrestling. Top 10 in nationals coming out of high school. Played college football. We had a very successful football. I had a very successful football career in high school. Solid in college. So, like, it's always been about me finding the ways to get the win. The win always matters to me. Yes, the finish mattered because that's definitive. But Cam Ralston, the last fight, he posed some different problems. Granted, his attributes with him being so tall definitely gave me some problems. But besides the fact, I went out there and got the win. Was it a beautiful win? Would I like to win that way every time? No, I would not. Would I say that was my best performance? No, I agree. That was not a good performance for me, and that was not a good fight overall for me. But it was a win, and it wasn't beauty. It was an ugly win, but it was a win. And that's that part where I'm going to always lean to that side. I'm going to find ways to always get the W. But yes, the objective goal every time, because it's definitive, is go out there and get the finish. And that's going to always be my plan every time I step out there and step in the cage.
Your Tapology says you're 5'8". Is that an accurate stat?
Not really. I'm 5'7", but
hey!
That was kind of my question. Being a shorter, thicker guy at middleweight, obviously that can be a detriment. We've seen it. Do you feel like 85 is where you need to be? Like that's your weight class, or do you see a welterweight future possibly?
Yeah, I've been asked that question a little bit. You know, people saying, "Oh, because of your height," but people don't understand is my length. You know, my arms are longer than just about anybody. Frankly, go against that middleweight. You know, I have a 76-inch reach, and it helps having very long arms while being so short.
Yeah,
and
especially for wrestling.
Especially for wrestling, especially for my style. But also, you know, you also have to look at the fact that, so I played college football at 250. I was a bigger boy. And then, you know, obviously cut a little weight. I was fighting at 205 when I was an amateur. And then I finally went to 185 as a pro.
The Jared Cannonier path right there.
Yeah, fact. Asking my brother to go 15 more pounds. You know, I'm a dense guy. I'm just dense. And out of camp is like just naturally still training, naturally eating, no diet. I instantly get back up to about 220. You know, so I'm a bigger guy just naturally.
That's a big cut, yeah.
Probably just like in the family. I mean, we're just bigger people, just natural. So it's like that's requiring me having to diet outside of camp as well. And I mean, I'm comfortable at middleweight. I'm really comfortable at middleweight. I'm comfortable being amongst, you know, those guys. I've competed with a lot of middleweights. You know, I've trained with a lot. I've had opportunity to go to Vegas, you know, train with guys like Chris Curtis, Sean Strickland, Michelle Pereira, Fusion XL. I've been all over and like had the opportunity and beauty to be able to train with a lot of, you know, high level middleweights. And I definitely know I belong. So that's not necessarily an issue. Yeah, it's just always going to be advantage and disadvantage. Like I feel like there's a huge advantage of being short, you know, especially for my style. Like, yeah,
me too.
You know,
people unite. We're even shorter than you, so. But I love that. You've figured out your style and what works for you with your natural attributes. Speak a little bit on the transition coming over from football. I was looking like you made your amateur debut in 2020. So you're new to this sport, like only 4 years, less than 4 years in this game. And what prompted you to transition from football and just like, you're still young, obviously, like you're 25, correct?
25, yes, ma'am.
So still young in the sport, but new to the sport as well. Speak on what prompted all that.
Well, you know, when COVID hit in 2020, that I was going into my senior year of college football. Granted, we didn't have a season. We had one game, but necessarily not a season. But they obviously gave us the opportunity to give it a COVID year. We can play the next year. And I had started training. I had started boxing earlier that year because I had a little injury. So I just started boxing when I was out and really couldn't practice. And one of the guys at the boxing gym said, "Man, come to this gym called the Gogi." And it was, you know, jiu-jitsu. They didn't do much. They really didn't do much MMA. But I went over, saw Coach Larry, saw Matt Harris. Matt Harris is, you know, my MMA coach, and Sterling Peace and all these guys. And man, I just fell in love instantly, you know. And I had already wrestled. You know, I wrestled my freshman year in college, but I got hurt. And once football gave me the scholarship, it's like, all right, no more wrestling. So I just completely didn't do wrestling anymore in college. And I really, really enjoyed the journey of MMA. And when COVID hit, you know, after that spring break for us, we all had to be in the, you know, home. We couldn't do anything. I watched so much video of nothing but MMA, so much MMA from the UFC, from the Pride, from Bellator, from One, like everything MMA, anything like close to it in like mixed martial arts. I watched it because I was so intrigued. And I you know, growing up, I never watched MMA. I wasn't a big fan. And funny story is when I won my first state title in high school, my junior year, there was a guy who was in the military, and I'm celebrating and going up, and he comes to me, he said, "Man, congrats, man." He said, "Hey, have you ever thought about MMA?" I was like, "MMA? No, I never thought about it."
Get out of here with that.
Yeah, get out of here. No, he's like, "Man, but the way you wrestle, your style," he's like, because very similar to how I wrestle in high school, similar to how I wrestle now, you know, and it helps. And he's like, man, your style would be really good for MMA. And I looked at him, I was like, nah.
Nah.
Funny. My pro debut in 2022. He was there because I had it in my hometown in Macon. And it was funny. He said, what, see? And I was like, bro, yeah, you did. Like, I never thought this would ever be anything for me. And now to look at back, you know, it's funny you say that. And I never even thought about it. But 4 years ago, to be back, I'm about to fight 3 times in the UFC Apex, 3 times on the Contender Series, have the opportunity at making some sort of history on this show, and on the verge of being 10-0 as a pro. And you could have never told me none of this, you know, like this has been a journey, and it's been a blessing.
I'm so adamant that football players are some of the like just most elite athletes. I do my physical therapy for my ACL down at the facility. We have Dolphins players, lots of NFL guys coming through there, and all of them I'm like trying to recruit. I'm like, you would be in the UFC after a year of training. Like at heavyweight, you all need to do MMA.
Yes.
I'll take a massive pay cut and come do MMA. I'm recruiting hard.
Seriously.
Players.
Yeah. I mean, it's like not many people have been on the Contender Series 3 times, but think about it. It's like you're going to have so much experience under those bright lights with the biggest promotion in the world that it's only going to make you better. I mean, that's, and you seem to have such an amazing positive attitude. Where do you get this attitude from? This, I mean, this feels very much like you were born with this kind of attitude of just like wanting to achieve greatness, but were there certain people in your life that kind of helped you mold into that person?
Yes, very much. You know, my family, my granddad, my dad, my grandmother, my mom, you know, like growing up, my uncle as well, like we had a very competitive family. That I don't look, it was competitive. I mean, push-ups for money, racing in the, you know, in the I mean, just always, and like
dad never letting you win.
Oh no, there's no let nobody win anything. You better actually get it. Like we're competitive and we work out. It's just how we've always been, and it just obviously rubbed off on me. And you know, when you don't really get praise for even just, you know, in a tournament. And I'm young, and like one time I was in a middle school tournament, and I go out there and I get no, I'm in middle school. I just won a championship, but they put me in a high school tournament. They let me continue my part of my season. And I'm like, oh, I'm wrestling with high schoolers. And I placed 4th in the tournament. I won 3 matches that day. And I'm thinking, man, I'm in middle school. I'm gonna beat some high schoolers. Yeah, that's good. Nope. You don't settle for that. You know, it's like there was never anything settling unless you won, unless you got first place. You know, I never had anything that was 2nd, 3rd, 4th, anything after first. We didn't keep those medals. They was thrown away. It's like just how it was. And that's just the competitive nature that my family, and we always had that positive attitude. It's like, what's next? You know, it was never like, let's look what's behind us. Let's mope on that. There was no moping. It was like, all right, what's on to the next? What's on to the next?
Great.
And and I just carry that, and I've been blessed to have that in my family, and we just continue to think that way. That's why I said I've gotten a harder criticism from my own family. What Dana said,
that's nothing, right?
Top 10. That don't even make top 10. Like, understand, like to certain people, like who grew up in the world of MMA, you know, who really values everything that is done and said in this world, probably would take that a little harsher. But for me, it's different because I didn't grow up in this world. You know, I said it's different when a football recruiter tells you you're not good enough to make the team and you're working so hard to get on this team in college. That hurts. You know, when you're really working really hard and you're like, okay, I might got this opportunity and they don't offer you a scholarship. That's different. To me, that hurts me worse than listening to that, you know, because granted there's opportunities and I know I'm going to continue to keep getting better. And plus, all you're doing for me is just constantly putting on bulletin board material. Okay, well, because I always talk about myself. I love to prove myself right. But now, you know, I don't like to be in the business of trying to prove somebody else wrong. But when you start putting bulletin board material on the board, then I go out there and try to prove you wrong. I'm going to show, okay, all right, you say I can't do this. And I've been like this my entire life. I was too short to play football, too short to play football in college at a D1. You know, wasn't good enough to beat this certain wrestler in state championship. Like, I've always been doubted. And every time I always find a way, and it's just nothing like there's no such thing as something too tall for me. I feel like I've been blessed. God is blessed to have me a really strong heart, and just always have that motivation to keep pushing forward. So that's what I'm going to do. And I tell people
that.
in the cage, you're gonna have to kill me, man. It's like it's gonna take a little bit more than just like, oh, he's hurt a little bit. Like I'm gonna fight hard in any situation. So
I love that. Yeah. I mean, so I'm 5'2". Elle, how tall are you?
5'1", I think.
Okay. On a good day?
3.5. Maybe
Okay.
I got like 5'1".
So I had a coach say to me one time, act 10 feet tall and bulletproof. And I've lived my life like that since he told me it.
That explains
like,
a lot, Maddie.
Right? It kind of does. It kind of does. But that being said, so former football player, who's your NFL team?
I'm a big Steelers fan. When I grew up, man, I love the Steelers. The Steelers was one of my favorites because they were, really good on defense, and I was a defensive player as well. So I'm a big fan of Troy Polamalu, James Harrison, Lamar Woodley, all those boys, Ryan Clark. So I was a big Steelers fan, and obviously in college, I'm a big Georgia fan, being from Georgia. So I love the Bulldogs. Go Dogs, baby.
Nice. Elle, do you follow football at all?
Yeah, I watched the Super Bowl when the Chiefs are in it, which is always, by the way, because I'm from Kansas City. I know nothing. I know nothing about football. To me, every sport that isn't MMA is just boring.
Oh my God, you're hilarious. Well, I mean, okay, so I'm from Rhode Island. So for the longest time, it was the New England Patriots. Like, I'm Boston area. I married a Cowboys fan.
Ooh, Lord.
Yeah. So that's on at my house all the time. So, and according to him, it's their year. This is their year.
About to say that. I'm about to say, according to Cowboys fans, their year every year. So
they won last night too. So, or a couple nights ago. So it's their year, man. It's their year.
My buddy is playing for the Cowboys this year, so I guess I'm a Cowboys fan this year.
So. Okay, love that. Love that. Need all the support we can get. Trust me. But anyway,
sorry to hear
Torrez Finney, love your story. Love your energy. Can't wait to see you back in there. Tell us a little bit about the rest of the year and what we can expect from you.
Yes, I'm currently, finishing up training camp right now. I'm really excited for October 1st. I'm really excited for the opportunity once again. Like I said, a chance at history, and yeah, man, I'm excited to fight Abdelli Arami. He's a good opponent. Over there from Spain. He has a lot of tools in his toolbox, but I'm really confident I'm able to go out there and get the job done. So I'm excited for this opportunity. I'm excited to step back in the cage once again, and yeah, here we go, October 1st. The Punisher returns once again.
Let's do it, man. Well, we look forward to seeing you in there, and come on the show anytime, man.
Thank y'all very much. Thank you for having me.
All right. Have a good one, man. Thanks.
Thanks, Torrez.